welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kaylin K and you're chilling with us over here at Blissful Blessings. So for today's episode, this is going to be episode 2 to my Authenticity Over Demand series. So let's get into it. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about, drumroll please, your work that you've done. And this is stemming from some personal things that I went through. I'm not going to give my full journey on it now, but the short version of it is I have dealt with body dysmorphia, binge eating disorders, and a lot of things in that category. But I'm not going to talk about that today. I'm going to talk about the work that you've done is enough. And I'm going to explain what that means. Coming from when I had the eating disorders, because that's what they're called, God really led me through deliverance from that. And when you're dealing with something that nobody knows about, you are in a battle by yourself, and you have God, but it's still yourself. You don't want to tell anybody. You don't want to let anyone know. And it's just a personal thing. And when something is personal, the journey is personal. So the work that is done is personal and only to your knowledge. And something that I find myself getting caught up in now is getting very offended when someone will mention my weight or the amount of food that I eat, or just my overall body image in general. You know, some people, they're like, you should never talk about somebody's weight. You never know what anybody's going through. And you get the little irritation of mind your business. But for me, it's very, do not talk about this with me or about me. I'm just not going to have this discussion. And I find myself very emotional about it. And I was wondering why, because I'm like, God, if you freed me from this, why do I keep having this over emotional reaction when anyone mentions my weights or how much I eat and stuff like that? And the Lord revealed to me through a sermon from, I can't remember who it is. When I find it, I'm going to put it up here, her name. In her sermon, she talked about if you're delivered from it, you need to start acting like it. Why are you getting offended about something the Lord has taken away from you? And it was kind of easier said than done, but I really started thinking about it. Why am I getting offended over something that the Lord has delivered me from? I had to realize that though the Lord has delivered me, now I have to accustom my mindset and my reactions to catch up to what the Lord has delivered me from. And what I mean by that is that I don't have to get offended when someone talks about my weight. I don't have to get offended when someone talks about the amount of food that I eat. I am so quick to jump at my defense and jump at, you don't know where I came from, or you don't know where I went through, and you just can't talk about that, instead of saying, hey, I went through a heavy time with this, and I'm not at the point where I'm just very open to talk about X, Y, and Z. I would appreciate it if we just did not have these discussions right now. So that's leaving me the opportunity to say, I'm open to having the discussions, just not right now. And a lot of times growing up in an African-American household, when people talk about you, they don't know how to say it out of their mouth in a way that is to be received or you want to receive it. It's kind of like in a shameful way. And they don't mean to do it. It's just learned behavior. But for example, me and a close family member, every time she brings it up, for some reason, I take it as her attacking the work that I have done, as her telling me that I'm the same person that I was when I'm not. And this is what I mean by the work that you've done is credible and it counts. Because back when I had the eating, disorders, and back when I had body dysmorphia, nobody saw me crying in the mirror looking at myself. Nobody saw me anxious walking around because I'm looking at all these different women that I'm surrounded by, because I went to a predominantly white middle school and high school, and the girls that were talked to were skinny, white girls with long pretty hair, and they didn't have a butt and they didn't really have boobs like that, like me. So I would compare myself to that. And then just this unhealthy relationship with food being my comfort. I came from a lot of dysfunction to get to where I am now. I shared previously in the last video that my father passed away. When he passed, I went to food to eat, to feel comfortable. My family saw me intaking a lot of food and would make little comments here and there. So then I took my food to my car, and in my car, you're in your, your own element. It's private. You can eat as much as you want. And I got into overeating and binging and hiding the evidence of food and all this stuff. But basically what I want to get into is that when someone comments on something that you've been through, try to understand that they are not specifically attacking the work that you've done, even though it may feel like it. They're just commenting on something that they don't really know the initial power of for you. And for me, it's still hard to do it. I'm doing it now, and I'm trying to incorporate these skills that I've learned, because not everybody that says something about you is to target you or to make you feel bad. It could be people genuinely wanting to let you know that you're eating much. I see you getting heavier or bigger, but to you it's like, are you trying to tell me that I didn't just overcome these massive things in my life? Like, what are you saying? I just remember getting very triggered because I was like, nobody saw me, like I said, crying in my mirror. Nobody saw me shoving food into my mouth constantly because I just was so broken. And people don't realize that the words they say are hurtful. And woo! People don't realize the words they say are very hurtful because, like, they comment and they don't know that it's these words are hitting you the way that they're hitting you. Anytime somebody would mention my weight or mention the amount of food that I intook, it was like, yo, this is better than me eating tons of food in my car. This is better than me doing what I used to do. And I have come from something so heavy. Like, you're not going to sit here and tell me that the work I've done is not credible. But the thing is, they're not saying that. They're just commenting on something that is very sensitive to you, and you take it as they are discrediting the work that you've done. I hope I'm making sense. I know I'm kind of everywhere, but this is like the best way I can explain it. But basically, in a nutshell, if you've gone through body dysmorphia, if you've gone through binge eating, if you've gone through any type of grief period where food was your crutch, and you just felt like you were alone and you had to deal with the issue by yourself, but also go through the healing by yourself, I want to tell you, begin to think of the things that people say as them trying to help you, however way they come out. Take those words and see how you can honestly digest them and comprehend them yourself without getting offended. Because your work is credible. And you've done the work. And you've come from where you were. But now it's time to catch up with the deliverance that God has done. It's time to catch your reactions up with what is actually going on inside of you, which is that you don't struggle with this anymore. You're actually freed from it, but you need to start changing the way that you react to this particular thing. And it's hard to do. Like I said, I'm still doing it, but this almost victim mentality does not progress us. It hinders us. And the more we hone in on that and figure that out, the closer we are to getting on this road to recovery that looks many different ways. But I just wanted to hop on today and just share that message, because there's a lot of things that people go through behind the scenes and people will comment on but not know the full intent to it. So when people snap and go off, they're like, yo, what was that? I wasn't even trying to say that. But that's why you need to be courteous and sensitive about the things that you say, because you don't really know what anybody's going through. So I hope this video was insightful. If you resonated with it, girl, leave a comment down below, and I will be talking to you all very soon. Love you.